Amazing recipes. Before we meet her, I'd like to introduce you to my new co-host, Soumya. Assalamu alaikum, Soumya.
Alaikum salam. You okay?
Yes, Jazakallah. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, good.
I'm pleased to have you as a co-host on my show today, and hopefully, inshallah, going forward as well. How's Ramadan going for you?
Ramadan's going good, alhamdulillah. We're nearly in the middle of it, so it's gone really quick.
It has flown by, hasn't it?
I think we all missed the lockdown Ramadan where we were all at home and, it was good.
And we're able to read much more Quran.
And namaz on time.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm pleased to hear that. Oh, and before I go on, sorry, have you cooked anything different this Ramadan?
Me?
Yes, you.
To be honest, I've been at work, so my sister-in-laws have been doing most of it. So
Oh, that's nice. You get out of the cooking then, don't you?
just been helping here and there.
And have you been able to enjoy much of their different recipes they've been creating then, or has it just been the typical desi foods this
No,
year?
alhamdulillah, we have something different every day,
Mhm.
so it's good.
Oh, that's
Have
nice.
a nice
mashallah.
variety.
That's nice, mashallah. All right, so this Ramadan, I think the fasts are still quite long as well, so it's important to focus on eating healthy foods and foods that provide us with energy throughout the day, so slow release energy foods. So, Soumya, do you have anything for us about that you can share with our listeners so they can probably take something back to use in their ingredients?
Yeah, so I think this is just a few that I've just picked out for everyone. I think they're just quick, easy, simple ideas. The first one is oatmeal. Obviously, everyone loves a bit of porridge. It releases slow energy and it's a good source of vitamin B. It's easy to do at Sehri time, so, it keeps you full. Another one is eggs. Everyone loves their eggs. You can do them loads of different ways and stuff. So, it's a good favourite.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it keeps you full as well. I think this one's an odd one that I found online. It's spinach.
Oh, okay.
Most people tend to have this, but I've never tried it. It's supposed to be high in iron, magnesium and potassium. So
Oh, okay. Is it slow energy releasing food then? I
it's
didn't
supposed to
realise.
keep you full, yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realise that was. Okay. And is there any others that you could share with us?
I think lastly, everyone's favourite is fruit and dates. Obviously, that's a
Yeah.
good one.
That's-
And dates is one of the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon
Recording
him, as
in
well.
progress.
So that's a good one to have.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. So I'd like to introduce you now to our next guest. This is Zainab, influencer Zainab Azmat. Assalamu alaikum, Zainab. Thank you for coming on to the show.
Walaikum salam. Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure to get to meet you in person, actually. I haven't seen you for a while.
Thank you.
Yeah. So how did you get into becoming an influencer on Instagram then?
Well, I never set out to become an influencer as such. So it started about 5 years ago. So I was at home. I just had my daughter and she was probably 6-7 months, and then I had my son who was 2. He was probably about 2 at the time. And this was a different city for me because I'd moved from Birmingham to Wolverhampton, and I just kind of wanted to do something for myself that gave me a little bit of my own identity as such, because when your kids are very young, your life revolves around them, especially two under 2 almost. So I started off just sharing recipes. I mean, I'd had my personal Instagram account for many years, and I used to post food pictures on there. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to make a dedicated Instagram account where I'm going to share just pictures of food, recipes, because I love food, and I never set out with that mindset of it's because I want to be an influencer or a food blogger. It just happened very organically. I was just sharing pictures of my food, and all my friends and my cousins would always ring me and message me anyway that, oh, can you send me the recipe for this? Can you send me the recipe for this? So if it was all on Instagram, it was just easy for them to go on the page and find the recipe. So it just kind of started from there, and just it really grew organically, just purely out of my love for food, really.
Oh, I'm pleased to hear that. It's always like a hobby that we have on the side, and then we
Yeah.
tend to just feed into that. And we continue to follow and become
Absolutely, yeah.
influencers. Right, okay. So when you started doing it, then you said you had 2 children at the age of 2.
Yes.
So how did you manage to fit in your cooking around them?
I mean, I had to cook anyway, regardless, because I've found in Wolverhampton, I didn't find many other, as it coming from Birmingham, there was always options that if you weren't going to cook, there was a takeaway. There's so many different food places you can always order in. But I found with Wolverhampton, I had no choice but to cook. So although I loved cooking anyway, so it was just, well, I'm going to cook this today. I'll just take a picture of it because I was cooking anyway. So I've always been someone that I prefer to eat home cooked food anyway, rather than getting a takeaway. So if you gave me an option of eating out for a takeaway or home food, I'd always pick home food. So I was cooking anyway.
Oh, okay. So we just had a message come through, actually, just it's for you as well, Zenda Lakram. Message from, they haven't left their name. Mashallah, Zenda Lakram has been a great inspiration to young new chefs, easy to follow recipes.
That's so kind. Thank you so much. I can't even, it's so heartwarming and humbling when I get messages like this, because I feel like cooking is a life skill that boys and girls need to know, and they should know if going off to university or whatever. It's a life skill. So when I hear that I can help someone, even in such a small little way like this, it's really heartwarming. I'm so grateful and just can only thank the Almighty.
Definitely. And I find, though, a lot of young people nowadays, I don't know if some of you share this, they're not able to cook because our lives, they haven't revolved so much around the cooking, whereas our parents' lives did revolve more so around that. And we don't have to do that. So your shows and your video recordings that you have on Instagram, they are very simple and basic to follow, thankfully. And
that's my aim, because I'm like everyone else. I've got 101 things to do. I've got a basket of laundry that needs to be done. I've got kids. I've got school pick-up and drop-offs. As much as I love to make a very long, fancy biryani on a weekday, it's not going to happen sometimes. You just want to get in the kitchen, make a good, nutritious meal from scratch, and you want to spend that time with your kids as well. You don't want to be in the kitchen constantly. You want to have that time to spend with your kids, or go over their subbook with them, or their reading books from school.
So I'm glad you mentioned that point about being nutritious, because I have noticed actually your meals are quite well balanced.
She does a bit of both.
If we don't look at the desserts first,
I wish I could be more nutritious and well balanced, but the temptation's always there for a dessert, or sticking in an extra bit of butter here and there. But I try.
But the recipes I've seen, you're saying you add a bit of butter in here and there, and the desserts as well. If we were to avoid that side of it, and instead of putting the butter, putting oil, a person who was a bit of a health fanatic, or somebody who wanted to change their lifestyle and diet.
I might have to, sorry to interrupt there, but I sometimes feel that butter is more nutritious than some said oils or margarine, because butter is a natural kind of source. It's derived from milk. So there's that little bit of
there is definitely
there.
that, yes. But then it's
calories wise, no,
it's using the right amount, isn't it?
But you're right. Calories wise, probably not. But the way it's derived,
Although saying that, I have a friend who's a dietitian, and she has said that butter is necessary in our diet as well. So we shouldn't totally cut it out.
I mean, it's all about balance, isn't it? And you just you've got to be sensible that that no, I don't need to have that extra bar of chocolate. One's enough.
That's it, totally. It's like Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as well. He only used to eat until his belly was 2/3 full. It was never fully, where your stomach is at that level where you cannot eat anymore. So it's important to remember that when we have our diets and follow our lifestyles as well.
We've got all the answers there. We just need to,
make sure we're following the right path. That's it.
Yeah.
Totally. Right. So, when you do your cooking, is there anything in particular you try to avoid using in your ingredients?
It's a tough one.
Shall I be honest?
Yeah, go on.
I try and avoid using. I'm a carnivore. So if I can get out of cooking a vegetable meal or a dal, I will. But
I have noticed that actually with a lot of your shots.
I feel. I mean, you guys, can jump in on this as well. As I've become older, I've found my taste buds have evolved. So there were certain foods when
That
I
you
was
wouldn't eat,
younger,
yeah.
that I would loathe and I wouldn't eat. And now I find myself, I love grille, I love, certain foods
That you would need as a child,
Yes. Yeah, totally.
definitely. Mm.
Yeah.
They do taste better when you're older. Saw you're pulling a face over there. What do you
She
think?
still doesn't like grille.
No, I do like if they're cooked properly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. And have you actually used grill in many of your recipes?
I do, yes.
They're really expensive at the moment, aren't they?
They're actually, I paid a couple of weeks ago $11.99 a kilo for grille, so it's almost on par.
Wow.
Yeah.
With meat?
Meat,
there,
yeah,
that is,
lamb,
yeah.
But no, I learned to make grille from my mother-in-law, who's as you know, she's a fantastic, both you probably know, she's a
Absolutely,
fantastic
yes.
cook.
Mhm.
So I learned to make grille from her. Yeah.
So do you put any twists on it when you're making your recipe for that then?
Well, something about me that you guys may have picked up if you follow me is that I like to cook foods from different cuisines. However, I like them to be authentic. So I'm not one particularly for fusion. So if I'm going to make a Pakistani dish, it has to be authentic. If it's going to be a Mexican dish or Italian, I don't really like to put in some of our desi masala. I like to research the dish, and I like to keep it authentic to the origin of the dish and how it was meant to taste. So I don't do many twists. I find, you should kind of appreciate the dish as it is from where it originated from.
Yeah, and I respect that. Yes, understandable. And a lot of cuisines will appreciate the fact that you do keep the dish authentic.
I try to, yeah.
Yeah. Although I know there's a lot of listeners out there who are probably thinking, what? We like to whack on that mirch onto our pasta.
They'll do a
know?
tadka.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different ways. For example, now, if you was to look on my page, for example, if you give a whole chicken, a roast chicken, I have got 5 different recipes for roasting a whole chicken, and each one is unique and different. And like, I've got a Moroccan roast chicken, I've got a garlic butter and herb roast chicken, and I've got this, our normal tandoori roast chicken, the yogurt-based marinade. I've got the Lahori jarga, which is steamed and then deep fried, and then I've also got a saji, which is like a bluchi roast chicken. So there's so many different things we can do. So we don't always have to stick to our normal, get the tandoori masala out. There's so many different ways of doing different dishes, but sticking to the kind of ingredients and
The
elements,
authenticity.
the authenticity of where it originated from.
That's a good point, actually. It's showing respect to the cuisine, like I said as well then.
I try to.
Your aunties and the mothers out there must be loving you right now.
I don't know about that.
So, before you got into becoming an influencer,
Yeah.
you actually had a degree as well. You have a degree, don't you?
Yes. So
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little about that?
yeah, so this is many years ago. I'm showing my age now. Yeah, so I actually from Birmingham originally, but I studied in Wolverhampton, and studied pharmacology. And I remember at the time I was like, can't wait to leave this place. So I'm never coming back here again.
Sorry, what was that? You can't wait to leave Wolverhampton, did you say?
Wolverhampton,
And
yeah.
look at your
I
kismet
know-
where it's brought you.
I know, absolutely. And all my family always says it. I was like, oh God, this place is so boring.
You
Can't
loved
wait to
it
leave.
really.
But then I ended up living here 9 years later. But now the funny thing is, when I go back to Birmingham, I'm like, can't wait to get back to Wolverhampton. I find Birmingham's too busy now.
Busy now, yeah.
Yeah, so now I'm adapted, and I love the community life here, that aspect of it, the quiet life, and I feel like, but I know this is going a bit off.
Where do you
No,
live in
it's fine.
Birmingham?
Okay, in Hall Green.
Hall Green.
Hall Green. So I find in Birmingham it lacked the community aspect, which I've only found here in Wolverhampton, and I try to explain it to my friends and my family in Birmingham, and I think they still don't get it, because it's something you have to live in
here
to understand how much of a, mashallah, amazing community we have, and we're always there for one another, and we're always talking to each other, and we just get along, and yeah, I'm just really grateful that we have that here.
Yeah, it's a nice community feel here, and everybody does look
Definitely.
out for each other.
We do,
mashallah.
yeah.
That's nice. Okay, so I'm glad to hear that. And then your degree, what was it in though?
It was in pharmacology, but then after that I was working as a assessor and a employment tutor, so it was kind of like getting people back into work. And then I wasn't there long, and then I got married and I moved to Wolverhampton, and the rest is history.
As they say, yes,
Yeah.
that's it. And now you're blessed with 2 children, mashallah, and
Alhamdulillah.
your Instagram page, which is flourishing, mashallah, may I add as well.
Thank you.
It's doing really well, mashallah.
Is this a career now or a hobby for the Instagram?
I mean, a part of what stemmed from me being on Instagram was I used to bake a lot. So from there, I've managed to have a small baking business, which has just, like I said, it's just stemmed organically from my Instagram page. So I do milk cakes and brownies predominantly, and people just place orders through my Instagram. So I have that as well. But I am very conscious, and I'm aware that at the end of the day, it is social media, and I do like to keep a definitive line between social media and real life. And at the end of the day, I'm always very conscious that social media it's not real. I can't let that get to my head. So it's always secondary to me. So it's always like an afterthought. So
Yeah. I like the fact that you keep everything separate, like your private life and your Instagram is just your
I
food.
mean, it's become more. To be honest, if you follow me at the beginning, it was very, very food. But as your numbers grow, there's a lot of things that go on around in the world that sometimes you need to bring attention to, or you want to speak about. So I feel sometimes that, okay, I have that platform, I have this following.
Yeah, it's good to.
So I do talk about social issues, what's happening around us. Sometimes it's just very casual about the kids, how my day's been with the kids. And people do find that relatable.
So it's kind of like a bloggering effect as well.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Yeah, but like I said, I do like to keep that line. I don't show my kids on there. I don't show my husband on there, because it's just private life, isn't it? And it's something they haven't chose. I've chose this. They haven't chose this, so I wouldn't want to bring them into it when it's not their choice. It's my
Personal
choice. Yeah.
choice, yeah.
And you're really enjoying it right now, though, like you said.
I am. I mean, that's the thing. I enjoy it. I never let it get. I don't want it to get to that point where I find it stressful, or I feel like it's taking over my life. Like I have to post. I have to constantly be checking. I have to get a certain amount of likes. I don't ever put a post up for the number of comments or likes I receive. I do it because I just enjoy it, and I want people, if they can benefit from it or they want to recreate a recipe, I'll do it for that reason. It's not because I have to attain a certain amount of likes from it
Or number of followers.
from it. Yeah, it's never been about that. And I think if it was about that, I would people can sense that. People are very clever, and if they can see that you're not authentic, you wouldn't get that same response.
No, definitely
Yeah,
not.
yeah. I mean, audience and followers are very receptive. They're very clued on, and they want that kind of warmth and that kind of thing that they can, relate to you. They want that relatability.
Definitely, yeah. That's why, mashallah, you are having a lot of, you've got a large number of followers, in fact. And I think the numbers are increasing, mashallah, as well.
Thank you.
Is there a specific tip or a cooking tip that you think listeners may want to hear about that they may not be aware of?
A tip?
Any cooking tips, yeah.
So there's a few. So what I will say is try and make your guy's life easier. So by that, what I would say is there's absolutely nothing wrong with making a handi or a curry that is going to be for 2 days. There's nothing wrong with it. So if you're going to cook a chicken curry, make enough for 2 days. It's fine. No one's going to judge you that you need to cook fresh daily. We've all got fridges. Put it in the fridge. At the end of the night, it's fine. Another thing I would say, tips and stuff, is try and plan your meals if you can. So maybe on Sunday night, get a notebook out and try and plan your meals for the week ahead. Because I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I find the deciding
I see you've
harder.
started that this year, haven't you?
Yeah. I find
Have you
that
stuck to it?
here and there, yeah. But I do start, yeah. So if you know what you're cooking at the beginning of the week, you're not umming and ahhing, oh, what shall I make? What shall I make? And then you have to ask the kids, you have to ask the husband, shall I make this? And everyone's got an opinion on it. And then after asking everyone's opinion, you're still going to cook what you wanted to.
Well, your children must be good then. They must still eat what you cook.
No, they don't.
They don't. Oh,
They
right,
don't.
Okay.
They don't.
So they're like mine then.
I've got lots of leftovers from yesterday. I posted a iftar yesterday, but my kids said, no, we had jawal yesterday. We want roti today. So I had to make a handi and make the atta.
Oh, you're so good. You know what I say? Tough, you're eating what's made.
Oh, you're good. You're good. And also, I want to say is there's nothing wrong with having a freezer food night. If you're working, you're a mom, you've got work, you've got to do school, drop-offs, laundry. We're juggling so many things.
So many things, definitely.
There's nothing wrong with having having a night where you're getting pizza from the freezer, chips or fish fingers. No one's going to judge you for it. So don't ever feel like you're going to be judged that I'm not saying every single day of the week processed food, but you have to kind of pick your battles and kind of conserve your energy and use your energy where you feel, is most needed. So
Definitely.
no one's going to judge you for it.
And when you have young children, it's important to make sure that the mum is mentally and emotionally well as well.
Absolutely.
And if you are trying to cook these dishes every day,
And you're burnt out.
Precisely. And then you're not going to be giving that care and attention your child needs.
Yeah.
And so it takes it away from that. And then your children will feel that because children feel the energy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They pick up on things and sometimes we don't realise it, but they do.
Definitely. So those are some good tips to take on board, actually, Zainab.
No, really.
And so I have a few friends, actually, who are new mums. And they were asking about that, and they were saying, how do we make it easier for ourselves as well? Because of the children, and because of the fact they have one child and they have another child soon after.
Yeah.
That's what makes your battles harder as well.
It does.
Sometimes I find.
And also, family, if you've got family, family's there to help us. And we know they're not going to say no to us. If you're struggling or you're like, I have had time to cook, just, drop your mother-in-law, your mom, used to say, oh, what have you got today? Maybe they can send a bowl around not even for yourself, but for the kids. Family's there to help and they want to help. So if you've got family, that's what they're there for. Help each other. Then you that's how it works. You help someone, they help you. With
That's
family.
it.
Then
Yeah, that's how we do it as well. And Soumya has the benefit of her sister-in-law's cooking for her, mashallah.
Yeah, mashallah.
So she's blessed.
Absolutely.
And so do you think that there would be anything else though with regards to cooking fast dishes for young mums that could help them perhaps?
Yeah, so the oven is your friend. That's what I'm going to say. The oven is your friend. So there's the reason why I like oven food is such as chicken. You can put the oven, you can do lamb chops in the oven. You can do a roast chicken skewers, is because once that's in the oven, you can do so many other things. Whereas, if you're making a curry, you've got to stand there, make the masala. You've got to actively stand over it most of the time. So if you can get some meat on the weekend, some chicken boneless, and then you can marinate it with different marinades. You can get some chops in, you can get some chicken in, some, mince for kebab in, and you can just whack it in the oven.
Yeah. So sorry, Zen, I'm going to interrupt you there.
No, that's fine.
We're just coming to an ad break now. So we'll see you after ad break where Zainab will be sharing some more recipe ideas with us and some more tips that hopefully our listeners can take on board, inshallah. And you'll have some more other secret recipes and sleeves that you'll share with us of your brownies.
Wow.
Yeah.
And milk cake.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. You're back on Wolverhampton Radio Ramadan on 87.8 FM, and you're on the Careers Cuisine and Cooking Show with your host Fawzia and Soumya, and our guest today is Zainab Azmat. So Zainab, we've had a few texts come in for you whilst that break was going. Ramadan Mubarak to you all. May Allah bless you all with endless happiness and all blessings this month, it says. And somebody said, can you shout out to the Iqbal mummies for all their hard work every day, especially in Ramadan? Yeah, it's very hard just for Ramadan. I've had a text come in saying, Zainab, your recipes are fantastic and simple. I'm one for don't cook, but your Lahori Charga recipe was so straightforward and simple. Even I mastered it and the family loved it. Keep it up.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
mashallah.
lovely.
And it's from
Thank you.
That's from Asfa. And we've got a message saying, love it. The two hosts are so articulate in their manner, mashallah. Oh, thank you very much for that. And there's a message here for you, Zainab, again. So lovely to hear you have Zainab on the show today. I ordered her brownies for my Eid party And I can say, yes, they were fantastic. People from my party still remember her brownies 3 years later.
Thank you so much.
So I'm hoping this person is still regularly getting the brownies from you then, if they're saying this. They are so delicious. Trust me, you won't be disappointed. Oh, that's lovely, mashallah. That's from Aisha in Birmingham.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, yes. No,
Yeah?
Aisha, thank you. It's
Okay.
so heartwarming to hear.
It's nice, mashallah. No? So,
We've just got a question come in. Zainab, for you, how you set up your business from home and any insurance is required? It's a good question.
Yes, that's a good question. So, you guys probably noticed over the lockdown period, there were a lot more home businesses. People were starting a lot of home businesses for food and that, because, of course, a lot of people weren't in work. So, great way to, great time as well to start a business from home. There are a few things that you do need to do. So, first of all, the most important thing is to register with your city council. So you can go online, register with them. So ours is Wolverhampton City Council. Very straightforward. You just fill out like some forms online and then you register with them. Secondly, I would highly advise you to do 2 courses. One is the food and hygiene course. Really simple. You can do it at your local college like I did, or you can do them online as well. They don't cost a lot of money at all. And apart from you doing the course for running a business, it's great knowledge to have, even if you haven't got a business, for cooking wise at home, what temperatures to store food, how to store food. It's really great knowledge for everyone to have if you're cooking. Second course I would advise you to do is the allergen course, which is fairly recent. You can do that online. Of course, with a lot of people, with so many different allergies nowadays. Yeah, and you just can't risk it. So that's 2 courses. Thirdly, something that may not be applicable to everyone just yet but register with HMRC. So what I do...
Why is that important?
It's tax purposes, because you don't want to do anything down the line where you're going to get in trouble. Of course, but there is a threshold, so you might not meet that threshold. However, if you have a job and this is like a secondary income, then you do definitely need to do it. You can either do it yourself, the self-assessment online, or I just have an accountant who just kind of deals with it all for me. So those are a few things. But also a quick thing to mention is that once you register with your city council, you will at some point have a food and hygiene inspection.
Do they come to your house?
Yeah, they come to your house. It's not like they will turn up on the spot. They will book an appointment with you. They're not there to catch you out. So some people have that fear that, they're just looking for things. They're there to help you, just to make sure you're doing everything correct and safely, because the last thing anyone wants is someone to get ill from, your cooking or baking. So
how many times do they come in?
I think mine's been about a year and a half now. I think it's every few years they come out.
Do they watch you cook something?
No, they just go around. They ask you some questions. They check your kitchen area. But if you have done the food and hygiene course, you'll have no problem, because you know what to do. I, alhamdulillah, got a 5-star food and hygiene rating. And something else that is very important is you need to have insurance. So if you're selling food and if someone, God forbid, becomes ill, you don't want anyone to sue you. So you can just get some insurance online.
That's quite important, Zainab. That's a good
Very
point you
important.
mentioned that, especially when you have got the business from your own home as well. You wouldn't think to put insurance in place.
Yeah, no, you always, and not just that, it's like, God forbid, if you had a fire or you were baking, your insurance could say to you, well, what were you cooking? Were you cooking for home purposes or for a business? So it's always good to, at the end of the day, alhamdulillah, we're all Muslims, so we shouldn't try and cut corners, because it is part of our deen that we do follow the rules and we don't cheat anybody.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's why it's always important to... So that's 4 things I'd say. Register with your council, do the courses, get insurance, and register with the HMRC. 4 things, definitely.
Yeah,
I'd
very
suggest.
important.
Yeah.
So there's some good points you mentioned there, Zainab. Thank you for that. I'm hoping that the listeners who are planning on opening their business take those points on board. because
No
it'd be
problem.
quite beneficial for them.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay.
I'll just say, if you do want more information on this, on my page, I have an IG story that has a lot more information in detail on this. I did an IG live where people could ask questions, and I'm answering loads of questions. So if anyone does want more information, just sit down with a notebook and pen and just watch that and make notes from it.
Oh, okay, brilliant. I can watch that back as well then. So, you know, before the break, we were talking about how the gorilla cost quite a bit and how expenditure has gone up quite a lot, hasn't it? So you're cooking quite often and you're doing Instagram posts as well. So how much do you think roughly you do end up spending a week on foods?
Okay. Oh, God, my husband's probably the best person to ask because
He deals with that side.
no, I do the shopping, but he'll just get the notifications at butchers, supermarket, and
You have his card.
I have his card. So so as you know, lamb costs quite a bit, and so lamb's about £15 a kilo.
Mm-hmm.
So and I prefer to eat.
So the lesson here is then I'm going to say marry somebody rich then, yeah? No.
Well,
Go on.
someone who makes you happy. You would say that,
Definitely, yeah, no,
And
no,
if food is your way to happiness, then
Yeah, no, listeners, by the way, you know I'm joking. Please don't follow that rule.
yeah.
Okay.
So yes, everything is so expensive nowadays. And you know, with kids as well, and being the holidays, you probably know, Fawzia, you know that shop at the supermarket during the holidays is always a bit more because it's snacks, it's that, and they're going shopping with you as well. Normally
Definitely,
you'd go
yeah.
shopping while they're at school, because
Yeah.
they're with you, everything's going into the trolley. So yeah, prices of things have become more expensive, but that's because I believe, I don't know if anyone wants to correct me if I'm wrong, is that when they're getting their stuff delivered to them, it's costing them more because of the fuel prices. So even delivery is affecting everything. That's what I believe. But yeah, see, that's one part of Instagram and blogging that people don't see, that it does take time and money, you know, to
Definitely.
recreate these dishes, and you are putting money and your time into it to make these posts for your Instagram.
And, you know, the fruits that you use as well, they look quite moisturous and full and rich as well. The chocolate desserts do, with the strawberries on top, and they look elegant and exquisite. So, you know how you have the advertisements that they have on TV? They actually oil some of their foods over and they paint some acrylic
I've
onto their paints as
heard.
well.
I've
So I'm wondering whether on your Instagram page, have you ever done that?
That's a very good question. No, it's never occurred to me, but now that you've mentioned it, maybe I will start doing that. No, I don't. It's just good lighting. Well, I tried to get pictures in natural light. If not, I've got the kind of, you know, the standing lights for the pictures and stuff. But no, it's just lighting mainly.
Just your normal light in the kitchen then?
Like,
or-
no, I have. I try to take a picture in natural light because that takes, you know, natural light's always best for pictures. If not, I have some kind of stuff that I've invested in, some lights for cameras and stuff. So
So there's some good tips there. The natural light is the best way to
Natural
get
light
the
is
food.
natural, yeah. And for your selfies as well,
Oh,
of course.
oh yeah, definitely. I wouldn't know, to be honest. We've had a question come in. Oh, okay. It says, Fawzia and Soumya, do your families and friends think that you are good cooks?
Yeah, of course. Why are you laughing?
Didn't you say your sister-in-law's cook?
I do try sometimes. Are you a good cook?
I'm a fantastic cook.
Said that with a straight face.
I did.
There was a pause. Did you hear?
There was a
Zainab?
pause. There was a pause.
No, the pause came in because funnily enough, I was speaking to my sister about this, and this is when I was looking at your Instagram page, Zainab, and I said, these recipes and these foods look amazing, mashallah. And I said, do you remember I used to cook like this? And I haven't cooked like this in absolute ages. And I say ages, it's probably roughly 2.5 years though. So it's not really like
It's not-
taking
yeah,
it back
yeah.
that too long. But for me, it feels like ages because I've been quite a cook. I haven't cooked in a while. And now I'm trying to get back into it. I'm not actually a good cook right now. So did you
Are
find
you a bit
that-
rusty? You need
yes,
to get a bit. No.
yeah. Did you have a break when you had the children as well, though, or any
No.
illness? Because I had an illness
still
that
cook?
I
No,
popped out.
never had a break. No. No. Oh, actually, maybe when I was having my son, I was quite ill, so I was like bedbound for like 6 months. But no, I've no, not really had a break. I mean, even when I was with my mother-in-law, mashallah, she's a fantastic cook. But I also learned so much from her as well. Yeah, I learned to actually cook from my dad.
Really?
My dad is the most awesome cook ever. His food, like honestly, I think some of his dishes, I don't think anyone could cook as well as him.
Is he a better cook than your mum?
Yeah, he's known to his food, and he's so passionate about food. His food is amazing, and me and my brother have both got that from him. So I'll tell you the funny thing is, so when I was younger and I kind of first started to cook, if I made a certain dish of my dad's that was really well, my dad would get a bit like competitive. So 2 days later, he'd make the same thing and he'd ask who made it better.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he seriously do that. And now me and my brother have that same kind of rivalry between us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I did notice, actually, your brother made some cheesy sheet kebabs, was it?
Oh,
Or some
yeah,
kebabs. They looked amazing. Do you
Okay, I don't know
about
if I should tell his secret.
that? Go on.
Go on then. So this is what he did. Guys, are you listening? Because
Go on.
you're going to want to recreate this. It was a cheese string. Yeah.
In the kebab.
Yeah, so he had
That's
the
a
cheese
cheat.
string. He had the cheese string and he had got your mince, your normal kind of kebab mixture, lamb, chicken, whatever you want to use, and he wrapped it around the cheese string. Genius.
That is genius, you know. I'd never
Yeah.
have thought of putting a cheese string in.
No,
But can I just say, if you do put cheese string in, put less salt in your kebab mix.
they're very
quite
cheap,
salty,
yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, we went round to Iftari last weekend in Birmingham, and it was like, you know, my sister-in-law, my mum, my brother, he did mainly cooking. And the food was delicious, but while I was eating it, I found myself frowning a bit because I was like, how has he done so good? And, and I was frowning while eating it. So yesterday I hosted Iftari for them. And so, of course, I had to go above and beyond to prove a point.
And you found him frowning, yes?
Yeah, no. And he said, why have you done so much? And I said, you started this by making those cheesy kebabs.
Sibling rivalry.
Yeah, so we're so, as a family, our WhatsApp group is always revolving around food. We watch a lot of food blogs on YouTube. We're foodies, and I think
Yeah.
that's where it stems from.
Oh, brilliant. That's nice to hear, mashallah. You know, you're saying about your brother being cook, though. Somebody sent a text in saying that they found that a lot of men like to cook now. So they start off for helping, and then they tend to take over now. And, you know, I experienced that with the aloo paratha incident that my husband made once. I had the shock of my life. You know, he's cooked here and there.
Yeah.
And I came down one morning, a few days after, and for breakfast, and he'd made me aloo paratha.
Wow.
I was bowled
Was it
over.
nice?
It was amazing.
Isn't that the
Mashallah.
dream, though?
Yeah, I was like, oh, mashallah. What's happened to you,
Wow.
Asif? What do you want? You know, one of those situations. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, mashallah. Somebody's asking, have you ever burnt a dish?
Have I ever burnt a dish? I think we've all left the masala on a low heat and we run to do things. And the masala sticks a bit at the bottom. I think we've all done that,
We've
haven't
all
we?
done that,
We've all done that. And you're like, oh, and just take the top of the masala and change the handi. Yeah. I don't think I've actually particularly burnt a dish. No,
Has something gone wrong?
Has something gone wrong?
Like the flavour or...
No.
No, alhamdulillah, that's good.
No, I'm trying
That's
to
a sign
think.
of a good
No,
cook.
as in, not massively. And I'm not saying that in a way like I'm trying to be very, you know, full of myself. But I
No,
don't
to
think
be fair,
majorly-
mashallah, you seem quite pedantic and you seem like you will keep on top of your dishes when you're cooking. You seem, you know, you
Yeah.
do seem you're quite organised, mashallah.
Yeah, I do try and cook early on in the day. My kind of routine is do the cleaning, cooking, whatever I can early on in the day. Because when the kids come back from school, we have such a limited amount of time to spend with them because it's masjid and it's this school. So whatever little time I do have after school, I don't want to be in the kitchen at that time. I'd rather have that time with them. So I try to get my cooking done early.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that as well. I prefer doing it early in the morning so it's done and it's out of the way. If you have to
And you
reheat
can open the
anything.
windows,
That's it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big thing, isn't it now?
get the
Yeah.
cooking smell out.
Especially with our turkas and the
Yeah,
masalas.
yeah.
So it's quite specific, this question actually is my name as well. And so I'll have to answer it now. Have you ever burnt a dish, Fawzia?
Oh,
And the answer is it depends on who my guest is in my house. And I know you're listening. So, no, I've not actually burnt a dish. I've burnt something in the oven though, which sounds even worse, doesn't it? I was busy with the children and I forgot I'd put it in the oven, so I've done that.
it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Zainab, is there anything else you think that the listeners would like to hear about you or your Instagram page?
So something that I get asked quite frequently is, which I find quite surprising, is I find my followers, they respond more to the kind of traditional dishes.
Oh.
Yeah. So you'd think something like maybe a stir fry or something, but people really want to know the kind of traditional kind of the aloo gosh, the blows and that kind of food. So it kind of makes me feel a bit happy in the way that young people today still want to cook and want to learn to cook our traditional kind of Pakistani food. And it's quite heartwarming, because you think that it's not everything isn't about burgers and pastas. And I think that's quite nice that people still want to learn to make, your chicken salads, your everyday kind of your kofta dishes, and, rice. So I think that's really, really nice.
I think it's good that you've got a nice variety on your page as well. So it's not just authentic dishes. It's a bit of, you got your English, Italian, or your stir fries. You've got a nice little variety.
I try, because I think with all of us, we like to have a bit of variety, don't we?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you know? Speaking of variety, though, Zainab, I saw one of your iftari dishes, and I was like, "What? This looks amazing!" But I would never have thought to have it as an iftari dish. Your fully loaded chips with keema, and I was like, "Wow!"
Well, that. Actually, I think it was 2 iftaris ago I came up with that.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely sublime. It's so good. Honestly, it's not probably the most healthiest of dishes, but if you are to recreate that dish, something I get asked very often about loaded chips is, can we use ready-made oven freezer chips? And the question is, no, it's not the same. You've got to get the big potatoes and you've got to make wedges in the oven from scratch. And that's where the magic is. But yeah, it's got spicy keema on it. But when I say keema, it's not a handi keema. It's just, very subtle spices, kind of paprika, salt, chili flakes. It's got no garam masala or anything like that.
Okay.
And then topped with lots of cheese and spring onions. It's lovely. You guys have to give it a go.
It looked really good. It did look really good, I must be honest.
Try that.
I'll probably get asked if to cook that.
That's amazing. If he likes to cook, why not? I think it's fantastic. I think all men should really.
Oh yeah, definitely. Times are changing for definite. Yeah. It's not just a women in the kitchen thing now.
Absolutely not.
And even if we look at it Islamically, though, women aren't just the ones who have been told to cook and do all the housework. It's been encouraged for the men to help out.
Totally.
And Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to help all of his wives as well. And that's what culture changes, I think.
Yes.
Those are cultural changes which do affect a lot of relationships in the end as well.
Yeah. I mean, I've already said that when my kids get older, I'll be teaching both my son and daughter to cook, because it's something they should both know. So it's not something I'm just going to make my daughter learn. I'll teach my son as well to cook as well.
Yeah, so when I do cook at home, it's we have one day when my daughter comes in with me, and the next day it'll be my son.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, and then my third child, who's 6 years old. So he's a helper, but it's not as good as the older two, obviously. Yeah. But it's encouraging them to get in the kitchen. It's encouraging them to do things.
Getting them excited about cooking.
Yeah, definitely. And some of your recipes on your Instagram page, though, they're quite interesting for children to go through as well and follow those dishes on your video clips.
Totally.
Because I sat there watching the brownie ones, in fact, and they were like, can we copy this? And I said, yes, we can. So I'm going to be doing that, by the way, on Sunday. That's what I promised them.
Yeah. I mean, even stuff like just even cookies or getting the kids involved, especially, it's a great thing to do in Easter holidays. Like, something I do in the holidays is, like, one day me and the kids will make pizza from scratch. And it's such a fun activity.
It's the dough beating, isn't it?
Yeah, it's making the dough. So instead of just taking them out to the movies or taking them to a play area, get them involved.
Perhaps you could get the dad to help as well. So I get asked if to do that part of it, to be honest, to make the dough and to beat it and to bake the bread with them.
It's a nice family activity, isn't it, for everyone to do together?
And we put in a lot of different things as well, so olives and some salami or some sausages or onions.
And because the kids can then pick their own toppings, and it's fun for them.
Yeah, exactly. Perhaps you could add that onto your Instagram page.
I have got a pizza recipe.
Yes,
I have got it.
Brilliant.
Yes.
I've not noticed that one.
It's on my highlights, so it's
Okay, we'll copy that in as well then for a main, and then the dessert will be your brownies on Sunday,
great.
inshallah.
It's your Sunday sorted.
No, actually, because I'll have to cook it all one twice on you. It's almost Zena, but it's an interesting point you mentioned, though, actually coming into Wolverhampton, how you didn't have a lot of places to get food from.
Still don't.
No, we don't. This is a point I was just coming to. So in Birmingham, we do have a lot of variety, like you said. And you can get different tasting foods as well, though, depending on the cuisine as well.
Absolutely.
That's available in Birmingham.
Yes.
Would you consider perhaps selling your actual main meal dishes as well? Because right now you're only selling desserts, aren't you? You don't
Yes.
actually sell the main meals at all.
No.
Do you
I
think-
did at one point. I started it, but I just found with the kids it was difficult with the timings and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Do you think it'd be a future thing that you'd probably look into possibly?
possibly, but I've always said I don't want this to become stressful and like a job for me. The minute I find it that I'm not enjoying it, I don't want the enjoyment to come out of it. I don't want to see it as a chore. So I would consider doing it as long as I don't feel the pressure and the stress, or where I'm not enjoying what I'm doing.
Yeah, so you wouldn't consider opening a restaurant then?
No,
No.
not at all. I wouldn't want that stress.
No, they are highly stressful businesses, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Soumya, is there anything that you would think that could benefit any of the listeners out there for a recipe?
No, I think a popular one in Ramzan is milkshake. I think
Yeah.
then of you have some good ideas for that, don't you?
It's a ruhafza milkshake, isn't it? That's it. Everybody goes for those.
Coming back to the beginning, as you said, Soumya, there are a couple of things for seri or sahur. You said porridge. Just expanding from that, something that I like. Well, porridge is fantastic for the winter because it's very warming and it warms up your belly when you have it. But for the summer, where it's a bit warmer, what I like to have is overnight oats.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
I've seen some of your.
Yeah, my sister-in-law introduced this to me and I really enjoy it. So overnight oats is when you prepare the oats the night before. So if you get yourself a little mason jar, it can be even a plastic Tupperware box. So you get your oats and you're adding some flavoured yogurt to it. If you want to use normal Greek yogurt, you can use that. You can sweeten it with some honey. I tend to go for, a nice kind of mango vanilla flavour. Add some milk in it and you give it a mix and you just leave that. And that overnight will naturally soften the oats. So you're not cooking it, but you've got a cool porridge almost.
Oh.
And to that, you can add your chia seeds, you can add your sunflower. I get them, the trail mix of seeds, fruit, strawberries, dates, raisins, nuts, anything you want. I mean, I've got a few different varieties on my page, and it's fantastic because when you make it, prepare it the night before, all you have to do is wake up, get your spoon, and eat it, and it's ready for you. You're not doing anything.
So is that what you've been using for sahur then? No.
Okay. I'm more of a cereal kind of a croissant or not.
But the porridge is a slow energy releasing.
It is. Sometimes if it gets warmer, I do like to have that in the warmer weather because it's a nice creamy, refreshing porridge instead of having that kind of more a hot kind of porridge. And also something else which is great, I've got on my page, which is great for sahur, is a date milkshake.
Oh,
yeah. So I mean, there's lots of ways of doing that, but what I do is I tend to cook the dates, let them simmer in some warm milk first to really soften them. So they're really
Just on the gas.
Yeah, just in a saucepan, some milk, let it simmer, and then I use that same milk and those dates to make a milkshake from, and it's just so nice. You're not getting any of the chunky bits of the date in it because they're really softened out while cooking. And as we all know, dates are so sweet. You don't need to add any sugar or honey because they're so sweet as it is, and it's really lovely and tasty to have.
We've had a message come through saying, great show, girls, informative and interesting. So thank you, Soumya and
Thank you.
Zainab. Also, your butter chicken.
Yes.
I saw that and I saw the recipe as well, and I was going through and I thought, oh, this seems really good and interesting
It's
to
a
cook.
very popular recipe of mine.
And how long does it take you to cook it from start to scratch?
It's not a weekday meal. It's a weekend.
So you wouldn't...
So I think you guys know what I mean when I say
Yeah.
that. Butter chicken I found very interesting because it's not something we grew up with. I don't think either of us, because it's not a Pakistani dish. It originates from India. So when I'd heard about this, I was like, I'm going to give this a go. But what I did is I did a lot of research. I read upon how it first came about, tried to find the most authentic kind of recipes and did my recreation of it. And it's a lovely dish to have for iftaris.
Oh, I'm pleased to hear that. So hopefully we can get that recipe off your Instagram page, can't we?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and any last tips or any last things you want to say before we go off air now? It's going to come to the end to close the show is.
I just want to say that, guys, try and cook from scratch because it's always going to be more nutritious than processed food. And don't be scared about not getting it right the first time around. Just get in the kitchen. Don't feel like you're going to be judged by your parents, your mom, or, you know, whoever. Just go in there and give it a go.
Yep. Thank
Be
you so much,
confident.
Zainab, for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a pleasure. You've informed and given a lot of information to all our listeners out there and to us as well. Actually, we've learned a bit from you as well.
Definitely.